Most people think freedom means doing whatever you want. No rules, no schedules, no one telling you what to do. Sounds great, right? But here's the problem: when you live that way, your life starts falling apart piece by piece. You wake up late, you scroll through your phone, you skip the work you were supposed to do, and at the end of the day, you feel empty. You tell yourself you're free, but deep down you know you're trapped by your own laziness, your distractions, your impulses. That's not freedom, that's chaos wearing a mask. The truth is, when you remove discipline from your life, you don't get freedom, you get disorder. You lose direction, you lose your edge, you lose the very thing that makes you powerful. Because freedom without discipline is like a car with no steering wheel. Sure, the engine runs, but it's going nowhere. You can hit the gas all you want, but eventually you crash, and most people live their entire lives in that crash without even realizing it. They confuse being unstructured with being free. They think freedom is waking up whenever they want, eating whatever they want, working whenever they feel like it. But when you live by impulse, every little emotion dictates your day. You don't choose what to do, your emotions do. If you're tired, you skip the gym. If you're anxious, you avoid your work. If you're bored, you open your phone and drown in distractions. You become a slave to comfort. You're not the master of your life anymore. Your feelings are. Freedom without discipline feels good for a moment, but it destroys you slowly. It's like sugar sweet at first, but poisonous over time. You get that short hit of pleasure when you stay in bed instead of waking up early. You feel relief when you procrastinate on something hard. You feel entertained when you waste hours scrolling through nonsense. But later, you're left with guilt, frustration, and regret. You start to hate yourself for being lazy. You start to wonder why you never follow through on anything. You say you want more from life, but your actions say otherwise. The saddest part is that most people live like this forever. They call it freedom, but it's not freedom, it's a trap built by their own lack of control. They reject discipline because they think it's restrictive. They think routines kill creativity, that structure kills fun, but that's the biggest lie society tells you. Real freedom doesn't come from doing whatever you want. It comes from being able to control what you do. It comes from mastering yourself. When you don't have discipline, every aspect of your life suffers. Your health declines because you can't commit to consistent habits. Your business or career stagnates because you can't stay focused. Your relationships struggle because you can't even keep promises to yourself. You start to lose faith in your own word, and when you lose that, you lose everything. You stop trusting yourself, and that's the beginning of chaos. Discipline, on the other hand, is order. It's structure, it's peace. It's waking up early not because someone told you to, but because you told yourself to. It's doing the hard work, even when no one's watching. It's showing up when it would be easier to quit. Discipline doesn't limit your freedom, it creates it. Because when you're disciplined, you can rely on yourself. You don't wait for motivation or a perfect moment. You just act. You execute, you get it done. Look at anyone who has real freedom, not the fake kind you see on social media, but true, earned freedom. Entrepreneurs, athletes, creators, every single one of them lives by discipline. They control their time, their habits, their focus. They understand that chaos kills dreams. Without discipline, they wouldn't be free, they'd be just like everyone else, trapped by distractions and mediocrity. Think about it, how free do you really feel when you can't even control your own mind? How free are you when you can't stop scrolling, when you can't resist junk food, when you can't focus on your goals? You're not free, you're addicted, and addiction, no matter what form it takes, is slavery. Freedom is not the absence of responsibility, it's the ability to choose your responsibilities. It's the power to say, this is what I want, and then follow through no matter what. Discipline gives you that power. It gives you clarity. It cuts out the noise. It keeps you focused on what matters and immune to what doesn't. Without it, your life becomes a constant loop of wanting more but never having enough, planning big but never executing, dreaming of change but never making it. Freedom without discipline is chaos because it destroys consistency, and consistency is the foundation of progress. If you can't stay consistent, you can't build anything meaningful. You can't build a business, a body, or a legacy. You'll always start, stop, restart, and wonder why nothing works. Discipline is what makes your actions compound. It's what turns your vision into results. It's what separates people who talk from people who achieve. You'll never experience real peace until you have discipline. Because peace doesn't come from having nothing to do, it comes from knowing you're doing exactly what needs to be done. It comes from order, it comes from structure, it comes from the quiet confidence that you're moving forward even when it's hard. Discipline is not a cage, it's a framework. It's what keeps your energy focused instead of scattered. Most people fear discipline because it looks hard. But the truth is, an undisciplined life is much harder. Waking up late and feeling behind is hard. Breaking promises to yourself is hard. Being broke, unfit, and unfocused is hard. You're going to suffer either way. Discipline just makes sure your suffering leads somewhere. So stop chasing freedom without earning it. Freedom isn't found in doing less, it's found in doing what matters, relentlessly. It's found in mastering your habits, your time, your emotions. The moment you understand that, everything changes. Because once you become disciplined, you stop being controlled by your impulses. You stop being at war with yourself. You stop living in chaos. That's when real freedom begins. It's not glamorous, it's not easy, but it's the only freedom that lasts, the kind that comes from complete ownership of your own life. Every time you make a promise to yourself and break it, you lose a piece of who you are. You may not notice it right away, but it happens quietly. You tell yourself you'll wake up early tomorrow, but you hit snooze. You promise to go to the gym, but you skip it. You say you'll start working on that project, but you end up scrolling through your phone instead. Each time you do that, a small voice inside you whispers, "You don't mean what you say." And that's how self-respect dies, not in one big moment, but slowly, through thousands of broken promises. You can't fake self-respect. You either have it or you don't, and it's not something someone else can give you. You can't buy it, post it, or talk your way into it. It's earned through discipline, through the small, boring, repetitive actions you take every single day when no one's watching. Discipline is the foundation of self-respect because it proves to you that your word means something. Most people think self-respect comes from achievements, from money, status, or validation. They chase approval from others, thinking that if they get enough likes, compliments, or attention, they'll finally feel proud of themselves. But that kind of respect is temporary. It fades the moment the attention does. True self-respect is internal. It's built when you know you can rely on yourself, when you know that if you say you'll do something, it's as good as done. That level of trust only comes from discipline. Think about it. How can you respect someone who lies to you over and over? You wouldn't trust them. You wouldn't believe their promises. So why do we tolerate it from ourselves? Every time you say, "I'll start tomorrow," or just this once, you're lying to yourself. You're teaching your brain that your own word has no weight. And when you live that way long enough, you stop believing in yourself completely. You lose confidence, not because you're incapable, but because deep down, you know you don't follow through. Discipline flips that completely. When you do what you said you'd do, even when it's uncomfortable, you start to rebuild trust with yourself. You begin to look at yourself differently. That feeling of pride after a hard workout, after a long workday, after pushing through when you didn't want to, that's the seed of self-respect growing inside you. It's not about the external results. It's about proving to yourself that you're capable of keeping your own word. People often confuse motivation with discipline. They wait to feel ready before they act. But discipline doesn't care how you feel. It's about doing it anyway. It's about showing up when you're tired, when you're uninspired, when it would be easier to quit. Every time you do that, you strengthen the muscle of integrity. You remind yourself, "I can count on me." And that is where real self-respect comes from, knowing that your actions align with your intentions. Without discipline, you live in constant self-betrayal. You say you want to change, but you never act. You say you value health, but you skip the gym. You say you want success, but you waste your time. The more you live in that contradiction, the more you start to resent yourself. You see your potential, but do nothing with it. You start to feel like a fraud, and that inner conflict eats away at your confidence. But when you live with discipline, the opposite happens. You begin to like yourself more, not because you're perfect, but because you're consistent. You start to walk differently, talk differently, think differently. You stop needing other people to validate you. You stop looking for shortcuts or quick wins because you trust the process. You know that if you keep showing up, the results will come. That quiet certainty is self-respect in its purest form. Discipline also gives you boundaries, and boundaries protect your energy. When you're disciplined, you stop letting people or distractions pull you away from your goals. You stop saying yes to things that don't serve you. You stop wasting time on meaningless noise. You choose what matters and you follow through. That's how you show your self-respect, by protecting your focus and your time like they actually mean something. The truth is, self-respect isn't built in the big moments. It's built in the small, private ones. It's built when you choose the workout over the couch, when you close your phone and get back to work, when you say no to the easy option because you know the hard one will make you better. Those decisions stack up, and eventually they change how you see yourself. Discipline doesn't just build self-respect, it builds self-worth. Because when you live with discipline, you realize you're capable of more than you ever thought. You stop identifying with your excuses, you stop playing the victim, you become the type of person who does what needs to be done, no matter how you feel. And that kind of person commands respect from others and from themselves. Most people live their entire lives searching for confidence. They read books, watch videos, and repeat affirmations. But confidence doesn't come from words, it comes from evidence. It comes from proof that you can trust yourself. Every disciplined action is another piece of evidence. Every time you follow through, you add another brick to your foundation of self-belief. And once that foundation is strong enough, no failure, no rejection, no setback can shake it. Discipline gives you peace. It silences the voice of guilt that whispers, "You should have done more." It removes the anxiety that comes from knowing you're wasting your potential. When you're disciplined, you don't need to lie to yourself anymore. You know exactly who you are, someone who takes action, no matter what. So if you want self-respect, stop waiting for it to appear. Stop saying you'll start tomorrow, start today, and keep going. Do the hard things, the uncomfortable things, the things no one claps for. Build habits that align with your vision. Keep your promises, even the small ones, because every time you do, you cast a vote for the person you want to become. In the end, discipline is not punishment, it's the purest form of self-respect. It's how you prove to yourself that your dreams matter. It's how you stop being your own worst enemy and start being your own leader. Discipline builds self-respect because it forces you to face yourself, your weakness, your laziness, your excuses, and conquer them. And when you conquer yourself, you stop needing validation from anyone else. You walk through life with quiet confidence. You don't have to say much because your actions speak for you. You respect yourself, and that's the foundation of every other kind of success you'll ever have. Everyone says they want freedom. They say they want to work for themselves, travel the world, make money online, live life on their own terms. But very few people actually earn that kind of life because they don't understand what freedom really takes. They think freedom is the absence of structure, that once they quit their job or start a business, they'll be free. But freedom without discipline isn't freedom at all, it's chaos. And chaos always leads you right back to dependence. True independence doesn't start when you make more money or when no one's telling you what to do. It starts the moment you master yourself, and the only way to master yourself is through discipline. Without discipline, independence is impossible. You can't run your own business if you can't even manage your own mind. You can't lead others if you can't lead yourself. Most people want to be financially free, but they can't even control how they spend their time. They want to escape the system, but they can't escape their comfort zone. They want to live life on their own terms, but they can't even keep promises to themselves. You can't have outer freedom without inner discipline. It just doesn't work that way. Discipline is the foundation because it gives you control, and control is what real independence is made of. Think about it. If you rely on motivation, you're dependent on your emotions. If you rely on comfort, you're dependent on your environment. If you rely on luck, you're dependent on circumstances. Discipline removes all that. It makes you independent from external forces. You do the work whether you feel like it or not. You stay consistent no matter what's going on around you. You act from principle, not from impulse. That's real power. That's real freedom. Most people confuse freedom with escape. They think quitting a job means freedom, but if you spend your new free time sleeping in, wasting hours on social media, and procrastinating on your goals, you're not free, you've just built a new cage. The walls look different, but they're still there. Freedom isn't about having no one to answer to. It's about becoming someone you can answer to. Discipline is what gives you that integrity. It forces you to show up, to be accountable, to take responsibility. When you live with discipline, you don't need a boss to push you. You don't need deadlines to scare you. You don't need motivation to inspire you. You become self-sufficient. You set your own standards and you meet them. You do the work because it's who you are, not because someone's watching. That's independence, being in control of your own behavior, your own effort, your own consistency. It's not glamorous, it's not easy, but it's the only way to truly own your life. The truth is, most people are terrified of real independence because it comes with responsibility. When you're disciplined, there's no one else to blame. If you fail, it's on you. If you succeed, it's on you. That level of ownership is uncomfortable, but it's also liberating. Because once you accept it, no one can control you anymore. You stop relying on external systems, on luck, on other people's approval. You realize that everything you want, the money, the body, the freedom, the peace, is in your control if you're willing to do what it takes. Discipline builds that mindset. It's the bridge between where you are and the life you want. Every time you wake up early instead of sleeping in, every time you work when you could relax, every time you choose focus over distraction, you're laying another brick in that bridge. Over time, that bridge becomes your independence. It becomes the path that takes you out of dependence on your emotions, dependence on society, dependence on external validation, and into self-mastery. Look at the people who truly live free. The ones who built businesses, created impact, shaped their lives from nothing. They didn't get there through luck or motivation. They got there through ruthless discipline. They worked when no one believed in them. They stayed consistent when it was boring, painful, or uncertain. They sacrificed short-term pleasure for long-term freedom, and that's what independence demands: sacrifice. You have to give up comfort to gain control. You have to give up easy choices to build a powerful life. When you're disciplined, your habits become your protection. You don't depend on your mood or your circumstances. You wake up early because it's part of who you are. You train, you study, you work not because you're forced to, but because it's your standard. You build systems around your goals, and those systems set you free. Most people think routines are restrictive, but they're not. They're liberating, because once you have discipline, your life stops being random. You stop reacting to everything and start creating. Discipline is what allows you to say no to distractions, no to excuses, no to things that don't serve your purpose. It gives you clarity. It helps you focus on what actually matters and cut out what doesn't. That's how you become independent, by making decisions based on your mission, not your mood. When you have that kind of clarity, no one can manipulate you and nothing can throw you off track. And here's the irony: the more disciplined you become, the more freedom you actually feel. Because once you've mastered yourself, you're no longer at war with your own mind. You're not pulled in 10 different directions. You're not enslaved by your impulses. You're calm, focused, and in control. You know exactly what needs to be done, and you just do it. That's what independence feels like: peace, power, and direction. People who lack discipline are always searching for shortcuts. They chase the next strategy, the next trend, the next easy win. But people who live with discipline don't need shortcuts, they are the shortcut. Their consistency compounds, their habits work for them, they build momentum that no one can take away. That's the kind of independence no one can buy or fake. It's earned through repetition, through self-control, through doing what most people refuse to do. At its core, discipline is freedom from dependence on comfort, emotions, and excuses. It's the foundation of every kind of independence you'll ever want: financial, mental, emotional, or spiritual. Because once you're disciplined, no matter where you are, you're free. You could lose everything and still rebuild it. You could face chaos and still stay calm. You could be surrounded by noise and still move with purpose. That's the power of discipline. It's not about control from the outside, it's about control from within. It's about knowing that you don't need anyone else to push you, guide you, or save you. You've got yourself. And that's what true independence really is: not being free from discipline, but being free because of it.